The Corpus Aristotelicum is a collection of Aristotle's works that have survived from antiquity through medieval manuscript transmission. These texts, as opposed to Aristotle's lost works, are technical philosophical treatises from within Aristotle's school. Reference to them is made according to the organization of Immanuel Bekker's 19th-century edition, which in turn is based on ancient classifications of these works. Overview of the extant works. The extant works of Aristotle are broken down according to the 5 categories in the Corpus Aristotelicum. Not all of these works are considered genuine, but differ with respect to the connection to Aristotle, his associates and his views. Some are regarded by most scholars as products of Aristotle's school, and compiled under his direction or supervision. Other works, such as On Colors, may have been products of Aristotle's successors at the Lyceum, e.g., Theophrastus and Strato of Lampsacus. Still others acquired Aristotle's name through similarities in doctrine or content, such as the De Plantis, possibly by Nicolaus of Damascus. A final category, omitted here, includes medieval palmistries, astrological and magical texts whose connection to Aristotle is purely fanciful and self-promotional. In several of the treatises, there are references to other works in the corpus. Based on such references, some scholars have suggested a possible chronological order for a number of Aristotle's writings. W. D. Rost, for instance, suggested the following broad chronology: categories, topics, sophisticae elenchi, analytics, metaphysics, delta, the physical works, the ethics, and the rest of the metaphysics. Many modern scholars, however, based simply on lack of evidence, are skeptical of such attempts to determine the chronological order of Aristotle's writings. Exoteric and esoteric, according to a distinction that originates with Aristotle himself. His writings are divisible into 2 groups, the exoteric and the esoteric. Most scholars have understood this as a distinction between works Aristotle intended for the public, and the more technical works intended for use within the Lyceum course, school. Modern scholars commonly assume these latter to be Aristotle's own lecture notes. However, one classic scholar offers an alternative interpretation. The 5th-century Neoplatonist Ammonius Hermii writes that Aristotle's writing style is deliberately obscurantis so that good people may for that reason stretch the mind even more, whereas empty minds that are lost through carelessness will be put to flight by the obscurity when they encounter sentences like these. Bekker numbers. Bekker numbers, the standard form of reference to works in the Corpus Aristotelicum, are based on the page numbers used in the Prussian Academy of Sciences edition of the complete works of Aristotle. They take the name from the editor of that edition, the classical philologist August Immanuel Bekker. Aristotle's works by Bekker numbers. The following list is complete. The titles are given in accordance with the standard set by the Revised Oxford Translation. Latin titles, still often used by scholars, are also given. Aristotelian works lacking Bekker numbers. Constitution of the Athenians. The Constitution of the Athenians was not included in Bekker's edition because it was first edited in 1891 from papyrus rolls acquired in 1890 by the British Museum. The standard reference to it is by section numbers. Fragments. Surviving fragments of the many lost works of Aristotle were included in the 5th volume of Bekker's edition, edited by Valentine Rose. These are not cited by Bekker numbers, however, but according to fragment numbers. Rose's first edition of the fragments of Aristotle was Aristotelis Pseudepigraphus. As the title suggests, Rose Rose considered these all to be spurious. The numeration of the fragments in a revised edition by Rose, published in the Tioibna series, Aristotelis qui ferabanta Librorum Fragmenta, Leipzig, 1886, is still commonly used, although there is a more current edition with a different numeration by Olaf Jigen, and a new de Gruyter edition by Echtschut Trumpf is in preparation. For a selection of the fragments in English translation, see W. D. Rost Select Fragments, and Jonathan Barnes, The Complete Works of Aristotle, the Revised Oxford Translation, Volume 2, Princeton 1984, pp. 2384-2465. The works surviving only in fragments include the dialogues on philosophy, Eudemus, on justice, and on good birth. The possibly spurious work, On Ideas, survives in quotations by Alexander of Aphrodisias in his commentary on Aristotle's Metaphysics. For the dialogues, see also the editions of Richard Rudolph Walser, Aristotelis Dialogorum Fragmenta, in USUM Scholarum, and Renato Laurenti, Aristotle I Frammenti dei Dialogi, Naples, Luigi Loffredo, 1987. Protrepticus Fragments, available in a new translation by Hutchinson and Johnson.